So the next chapter in The Other Shore is chapter 7. Can you see the sunflowers? And the part from the Heart Sutra is, listen, Sariputra, all phenomena bear the mark of emptiness. Their true nature is the nature of no being, no non-being. And in this chapter, Thich Nhat Hanh wrote that before the sunflowers have sprouted and grown, we say that there isn't a single sunflower here because we can't see all that the latent causes and conditions hold lying in wait. And I've loved this meditation he's putting forth in this chapter of tuning into the latent causes and conditions lying in wait. And when I reflected on this miracle, I immediately went to an image that Maggie posted on YouTube of the lilies blooming across the Namib desert in Africa after receiving an unusual rain. And we have the tendency to think that as long as we can't see the flowers, they don't exist. And that once we can see the flowers, suddenly they exist. But the two categories of being and non-being do not correspond with reality. That is why we shouldn't wait to see big yellow sunflowers or pink and white lilies to say that the flowers are there. They are there, just hidden. And whether or not we see them is only a matter of time and conditions. And I really appreciated Thich Nhat Hanh's invitation to meditate on the life conditions which brought each of our bodies into manifestation. Realizing that if only one of these elements had not been present, our body would not have manifested. The Buddha teaches that when something manifests, it doesn't come from anywhere. And when it no longer manifests, it doesn't go anywhere. It is not born, it does not die. It does not pass from the realm of being into the realm of non-being. And as I sat with this part of the teaching, I really sensed that the ideas of being and non-being arise with the concept of a material, non-living world. And Thich Nhat Hanh is pointing us towards earth filled with every form and every potential form of life. And when we can't see the fullness of life held within earth, our blindness doesn't mean that the fullness of life is not here. He goes on to say, we speak of two levels of truth, relative conventional truth and ultimate absolute truth. Ideas of birth and death, being and non-being, above and below, coming and going. Sameness and difference, defilement and purity, increasing and decreasing, can all be called relative truths. They are concepts that we use daily in life, and they are useful in the historical dimension at the level of conventional truth. If we do not have a birth certificate proving our date of birth, how can we get a passport or an identity card? So birth and death are important. Above and below are important, and left and right are important as we navigate our way through this dimension. At the level of conventional truth, these pairs of opposites are everywhere. There is you and there is me, and there is a father and a son. Father and son are not each other. They are distinct from each other. Humans are different from animals. Animals are different from plants. Plants are different from minerals. At the level of conventional truth, there is discrimination and separation. Things exist outside of each other. But when we observe more closely, we see something different. We come to see the ultimate truth, that things are really inside each other. There is really no boundary between Father and Son. The Father is the continuation of the Son into the past, and the Son is the continuation of the Father into the future. This is the realm of the ultimate truth, where everything is in everything else. Everything interpenetrates. So the notions of inside and outside no longer apply. And then he goes into speaking about finding the middle way. No birth and no death, no being and no non-being, no coming and no going, no same and no different, are known as the 8 negotiations. None of these can be applied to the ultimate truth of any formation or phenomena. In order to touch the true nature of phenomena, we need to find a middle way between all the pairs of opposites. And I wanted to share that this was revealed to me in meditation a number of years ago. I was given this little technique that I love. I was taught to say, I am neither, and then say the pair of opposites, like I am neither good nor am I bad. I am neither right nor am I wrong. And what I found by saying all the pairs of opposites, that each one would leave me in the middle. If I was neither side, then it left me in that space where I could just touch the ultimate truth of my being. And I found that when like uncomfortable emotions arise and they try to start taking hold of my identity and making me think that's who I am, then I go to this technique and I can say, like, I am neither shameful nor worthy. And then that space, again, that space comes back, and it's like a moment of relief from what I've been struggling with. So Thich Nhat Hanh goes on to say, in order to touch the ultimate truth, we need to transcend all pairs of duality, of opposites. And Thich Nhat Hanh added the no being and the no non-being to the Buddhist negotiations when he wrote this new translation. He realized that a description of emptiness must include the teachings of no being and no non-being, so that practitioners would not fall into the trap of thinking that emptiness means non-being or non-existence. In the context of the Heart Sutra, emptiness has no opposite. Though at first thought we think emptiness is the opposite of fullness, he points out that he has guided us to perceive that emptiness is fullness. We are empty of a separate self, but we are full of the cosmos. The understanding of no being and no non-being helps us to understand no birth and no death. It helps us avoid falling into the trap of describing things as either existent or non-existent. In Western theology and philosophy, we waste a lot of time trying to prove whether something exists or doesn't exist. We are preoccupied, for example, with the question of, does God exist? In Buddhism, we understand that the ultimate truth transcends both being and non-being. If God is the ultimate, then God must certainly transcend both being and non-being. We cannot say God exists, nor can we say that God does not exist, because existence and non-existence are two faces of the same reality. The view of being is one extreme, and the view of non-being is the other extreme. We need to transcend both these notions to attain what Buddhism has called right view.